So, welcome to Let's Skip to the Good Part, the podcast where we show you solutions to get time wise. Why? So you can work smarter and not harder. Are you juggling with many tasks, feeling drained and overwhelmed? Are you striving for perfection or sometimes procrastinating? If you say yes to any of these, then this podcast is really for you. Hi, my name is Christy Kruse, and I'm your host. I am a certified in my field, and I've worked with many professionals and entrepreneurs. And I'm also the proud mom of 4 small kids. In this podcast, we will show you why us humans work as we do, and also how you can deal with it. So, are you ready to reclaim your time, energy, and productivity? Let's do this. If you have a comment or a question, feel free to comment below and follow this channel for more updates. So, today we have a guest. We're going to talk about work smarter and overwhelm. So, let's skip to the good part. Welcome to Wendy Gunn. Welcome, Wendy.
Hello,
Wendy and I have
Christy.
a yeah, Wendy and I have attended some amazing courses together and found out we both help people to work smarter. And Wendy is also one of the nicest persons I've met in the last year. So, welcome to this, Wendy.
Thank you, and hello. I appreciate those kind words.
And for those who are attending here, have you heard about Wendy? Perhaps, perhaps not. But let's start off, Wendy. Can you tell a little more about yourself, what you do?
Yes, well, I have been in the online space for many years, since 2009, and I am an online entrepreneur, and I help a lot of people with a lot of the things that Christy talked about. I relate to a lot of them. But recently, my most recent thing is that I help entrepreneurs to launch an email list to fill it with raving fans who can't wait to work with them. And I love working with all kinds of people and meeting people. So this is going to be fun to talk about how to work smarter. And I've got some great tips for you.
Oh, I love the way you say raving fans. How many of us have heard about that? If you want to get out and help people, it's easier when they really love what you're doing. So, the classic question, do you have 3 top tips?
Yes, I do. And I just want to share from my heart, I guess. These are things that I've learned, and so much of what Christy already shared are things that I have learned as well, and which is really cool. But I just encourage people, number one, to be you. Whether you are in business, and especially in business, but business and personal, we so often are copying and we're comparing and we're feeling unfulfilled in what we're doing and overwhelmed because we're not, you're not being you. And so one of the biggest and first tips is to be you. It may be that quirky thing about you that people most love, and your personality needs to come out. You need to embrace your gifts and talents and not try to be somebody else or copy. So that's number one. And then um, number two, in the time wise part, so many things. I used to say yes to everything. I had to learn to say no so that I could say yes to the things that were really what I should be doing. And then just again, time blocking was so important. Planning ahead, and not being a perfectionist about it. So I used to be a procrastinating perfectionist, and I had to learn to just do it, just get it done, and plan. I plan quite a ways ahead now, and I found that there's no perfect plan and it can be changed. And there's no perfection, because as soon as you do it, you're going to, think of things that you want to change. So it can't help anyone until you get it out there. And so to take action fast has been something that I have had to learn, and just to really go ahead and get it out there and do it quick. So learning time management skills has been really crucial. And then in that time management planning, I do time blocking.
Oh, I love your 3 tips. And the first one about being yourself, don't copy. I use a similar one and I say, if you really look at others, use them to inspire you to be
Amen.
yourself. So that is another way of looking. And yes, stop saying yes to everything. Start saying no. Because sometimes people say, oh, I don't like to say no. But when you say no to something, you're saying no to the things you really want.
Yes,
So again,
absolutely.
reframe it.
Yes.
The time blocking and perfectionist procrastination, the double P's. How hard was that to do?
It took years, but um, it's very freeing. It's extremely freeing when you stop putting off, because there's a lot of guilt when you're putting off doing things, or you start but you don't finish. And I was really good at starting without finishing. And I had so many projects back, 30 years ago, when I was a mom of young children. I was very disorganized. And I had started, projects all over the place. And I would start big projects and take on way more than I should. And thought that, okay, I'm going to change. And this week, I'm going to do all these things. And I'm going to be a totally new person this week. Well, you can't do that. So, breaking down, I've learned to, make SMART goals, so many things that I've had to learn. And now I teach others how to do, because they're life-changing, really.
Oh, it's good to hear how you did it. One thing I've heard, one of the gurus, Marie Forleo, then I have to read my notes to say what she just said. If you go too far, you don't reach your goals and you feel like a failure. So it's about getting successes in. So, yes, when you set a big goal, I want to make a business or I want to do that, break it
Mhm.
down to small goals and figure out what kind of routine or habit can you start doing it. You mentioned
Exactly.
earlier about email list. How does that fit into all of this? How does it
Well,
help?
so many entrepreneurs are feeling very overwhelmed, and they're working so hard, but they don't have routines. They don't have habits. They don't have established um, things on autopilot, which an email list is so good for. I teach people how to create an email list, but I start with knowing who you are. Who do you want to work with? And walk you through steps and ask questions to help you determine that. And who's your ideal client? You might be overwhelmed and feeling unfulfilled because you're actually working with the wrong people. And you might be offering the wrong offer. And then I help you to automate it so that you have a lead magnet that's meeting their exact basic beginning stage, and they can't help, they just want to click that like right now. And to have things set up on automated systems allows you to take a step back. Things are going to keep running. You're not, having to do it every day. You're responsible for everything that happens. It's running. It's a system. And then when you talked about routines and habits, So important. I totally agree with that. It's so important. And so then to have routines for how you will write the emails, you will, and I provide templates and I have a really high open rate because I've learned how to do that. And to be able to take a step back from your business so that you can spend time with the people you love. You can take a day off. And the time blocking, again, for
Yeah.
me, is just fabulous because say you've got a 2-hour block of time that you were planning to, I don't know, write emails or something, but all of a sudden you have an opportunity to spend time with people you love, doing something you love. You can move that time block and you'll still get it done and you can do that thing. But if you don't have the systems in place, if you don't have an email list that you own, that's the other thing. The social media, wonderful as it is, you don't own anything there. So you can lose it like that. But the email list is yours. And, so it's just so important to have these systems in place so that you can feel successful, feel fulfilled, be able to have time back.
Oh, it's so crucial. I've worked in a big financial company. And what do big companies talk about? How to automate or delegate. All
Yeah.
those tasks. Just think 5, 10 years ago, people were doing it, by hand. But if you could get IT systems to automate it, then it goes like this. Why not? And truly agree, if the big companies can do it, how can small entrepreneurs? They can also do it. Perhaps it's a smaller scale. Think about email list and messaging and all of that. Some people say you just hire a VA.
That does help, and there's a time for that, but I really think that you have to know what the system is,
Yeah.
and then a VA can really help you. But to have the SOPs, set up, to have the structure, and I guess that's what I've learned over the years. And so I really like to help people because I hate seeing people just spinning their wheels so much, trying to do all the things and feeling so overwhelmed.
I have a quote about a tool with a fool is still a fool. You can't, if you don't know what you put in a tool, you will not get anything out of it. So it's more like,
Yes,
you really need to know what is your ideal client, because if you put the wrong thing in a tool, you'll get the wrong thing out at the end. And for
I
those of
had
you who
a,
heard
oh,
what
sorry.
Wendy said, SOP, standard operating procedures. She knows what she's talking about when she uses that word. So for you who didn't know
So
it,
important. I have actually two stories that you just prompted me to think of. One is the tools. The tool has to be used correctly to actually work. And you can have the most powerful tool, but if you example, I think of maybe a drill, and this is not my area of expertise. So I would be the one who would pick up the drill or whatever and be, okay, now what do I do? I have this great tool, but how do I use it? And so, if you try to put the apparatus together wrong, it's not going to work. You need to have, others to help instruct you on how to use it. But also, I was thinking earlier today, I was thinking about, when you're driving and you're maybe on a multi-lane freeway, road, and have you ever been in a lane and you feel like you're just, it's so bumpy. They haven't worked on that lane yet, perhaps. And you're just it's so uncomfortable. And then you move over a lane and all of a sudden, oh, it's smooth, and you feel you're enjoying the journey. That is a picture of what moving over to an automated email list looks like. When you can have something that is smooth and helps you enjoy your journey. That's what I hope it is for you. So just another
Oh,
word picture.
I love the image you just painted in my mind. And it also frees up time. If it's done, good. It frees up time to do what I do, spending time with my kids or doing what I
Mhm.
enjoy instead of writing, copy pasting
Mhm.
person one, copy pasting two, three, four. And a lot of people can most likely relate. 100
Yes.
people DMing. That's not the fun part of doing it. It's easier if you can have some tools to help.
Amen. And that's, we have a professional life, but we have a personal life, and we can't sacrifice. We won't be fulfilled. We won't be happy. We won't be actually doing our professional, well, if we are sacrificing our personal. And so it's so important. And, I talk about um, two things, transforming subscribers into sales, and I talk more about this in my Launch Your List Masterclass. I go way deeper into this, but
Okay.
um, this is so important to build and to make uh, a life, make a rich life. And what you're talking about with your children, so important. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. And so you need to use your time well. And when you've got small children, you don't get those special moments back. You
No,
have
no.
to be making memories with your children when you can. And
So
so it's
true.
so important that you're making a life rather, not just making a living. And so it's just so, so important.
One thing I've heard when people are talking about automation. Oh, I'm a bit afraid. It takes too much time to implement it, to start with it, and then people get overwhelmed by, oh no, I'd rather just do what I know. How to deal with that? What is your experience?
Yes, well, fear holds us back from doing many things that would help us. That's part of the procrastination. And again, you need to choose wisely who to learn from. And I have been there, and I really say I take you by the hand and lead you through, guide you through, because I understand that fear. I understand that. And it's a real thing, but I have the tools, and what I do is help people to do it fast and to know what steps specifically to take that are going to give you the most return on investment, and what not to do, and providing, I give you the right foundation. I try to help people, like I said, to know who they are and know what to do, so that they're not spinning their wheels. But then, in what I do, I also provide a lot of done for you services on the way. And so you do not have to feel like I have to do it all and it's going to be taking me years. No. So that's one of the things that I feel like, okay, that's what I can do for people because of all that I've spent years. So you don't have to. I've been, like,
You've been there, done that. I love the way
been
you
there
talk
and
about
done that. And
time.
I also have learned, I really relate to so much of what you share, Christy, because I wasted so many years. And it wasn't until I was in my 50s and even 60s. I'm in my 60s now. And after 60, I learned to achieve big goals. And so, breaking them down and learning those skills, so important. But I was able to lose 50 pounds after 60. And I started working out with a personal trainer after 60. And I started my online business after 60.
So never
And
too late
so,
to start anything.
exactly.
Just
So
begin.
wherever you are, but I hope, if you're younger, I hope that you will get the help and, that you will see, oh, I can do this fast. I don't have to waste 20 or 30 years.
I have been, the perfectionist part of me, so I really know where you're coming from. I wanted to do things perfect, and that could be writing an email or contacting people, making a speech. But gradually over time, and as I dwelled into all this area of mythology I've been researching, I learned that procrastination and perfectionism fit together. They often go hand in hand. And the word a draft helps. This is your first draft. Because when you do a thing, you learn and then you can tweak it. Do it again. Make another draft. Do it again. Oh, in big companies, we call it a version 1. Make a version 2, version 3. Can you do that with, like you said, an email system? Can you do it with a system like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have gone back and edited my emails over and over, and I have a 6 months broken into weeks of emails that my new subscribers go through. So they're automated and they get emails just automatically for 6 months. And some of them are sales emails, sales sequences, some are nurturing, some are other things. I can go in and add a whole sequence if I have a new product. But absolutely, I've gone in and, as you learn to write better or as you get to know oh, they really respond to that. You can see the statistics, you can see the analytics, which ones are getting opened more, which ones are getting emails back, and you can use those statistics to inform what you do and how you proceed in the future. So yes, absolutely. And a coach, former coach, I think, and maybe it wasn't original to her, but used to say everything online is editable.
Oh,
So
uh,
absolutely, get it out there and you can go back and change it.
and yes, I admit I'm writing notes as we're talking. The two words that really struck was the word nurture, because sometimes when people think automation, oh, I don't get to nurture, it's the other way around. If you get some task away from your physical hands, you have more time to nurture the ones you're speaking with online or on a phone or whatever, but you also nurture the ones who are getting emails. So you don't have to write or have a VA, or you can help. You could have a VA helping with that, but nurturing is so important. The stats you mentioned about that, those people who are using, Facebook or YouTube or whatever channel, there are some good stats, but not so good. What about stats? You mentioned some of them.
Yes, well, I can keep track. I use, and I have a report that I offer people that is the top email service providers and what your business, which ones mesh with your specific businesses are best for them. I happen to use ConvertKit, and within that, I can segment my And I'm not an affiliate or anything, you know, so I just like that I can have automation set up. I can segment and tag my people. I see every single email. I can see how many people opened it, the percentage, the number, and who did. I can see who clicked on whatever was, you know, the links in it
Yeah,
and which links they clicked on. I can see a lot about the person and the people that it attracted. And that's invaluable. And then overall, I said earlier that I have a very high open rate. I have a list that I've built over just a couple of years to about over 12,000 subscribers, and I have 36% right now overall. But I can
that's
see
a high number, Wendy.
it's a high number. And when you think about being able to have what, 4,000 plus people opening an email, that's substantial, you know. So you to be able to, you know, that says I have been able to relate to, and I can teach people how to relate to. But it's so important. I'll give you one of my best tips. When you are writing an email, think of one person that you're writing to. You are
Overwhelm.
writing to, so if I'm writing, and Christy, if you're my ideal person, you know, I'm thinking of you as I'm writing, and I'm speaking directly to you. And in the email, I say you, not they or, you know, others or whatever. I say you. And I might include your name in several places in that email because I'm writing to you. I'm not writing to 12,000 or 4,000. I'm writing to one.
Yeah, I
So
have
it's
seen.
very personal because one person opens your email at a time.
I have gotten some emails where it says dear, and in a circle it says XXX. I think there should have been a name in that place. So sometimes it
Exactly.
goes wrong. One quick question to you. If I was an entrepreneur with a small amount of clients, would it be helpful for me to get an automation system, or should I have, a large audience? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, definitely. That's the perfect time to start is with a small list because you can really scale. And when you have a small list, you'll see more results faster. So you'll be thrilled to see it grow fast. And you want it to grow with your ideal clients. I call them raving fans, because that's your ideal client. And then the sales come so that you're waking up in the morning and you're picking up your phone and you're seeing the leads that came in overnight while you slept, sales coming in while you slept. It's so important. But that's a great time to build.
Oh, good. Can we combine it with, you mentioned three top tips from you, and number three was about time blocking. Could you talk more about how do you advise people to use time blocking when they have a tool and want to automate it? Some thoughts about that?
Yes, well, because I really believe in planning ahead. Automation is a wonderful, wonderful tool, but you do need to plan ahead. But it's wonderful when you have a tool and you plan ahead. So I always plan next week on Friday or Saturday. I do the time blocking for, my business, but also my personal life and appointments. And then I plan, as I said, I'm going to write emails at this time, but it's not, I'm writing this email for today. The best thing that I can do is to write the emails for the future. Sometimes I write them the same day I'm going to put them out, but how I built up a list or a sequence, I call it an index sequence of 6 months of emails. That didn't happen overnight, but by writing ahead, and you can have time blocks where you're creating content for the future. And it just works so well with time blocking, because you can then, if something, and interruptions, you've got 4, little ones, interruptions are inevitable. So time blocking is the best thing to help you, because then you can, okay, well, I wasn't able to do this. I had an interruption. I wasn't able to do this Monday afternoon. Okay, no problem. I'll move it, here.
It's like doing
Exactly.
Lego blocks. I am from Denmark, so Lego blocks wasn't on Monday. Don't worry. Think, when can I do it? It's easier when you
Exactly.
shift around big blocks of time instead of 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So
And you must have times, I call it's margin. Dr. Donald Swenson wrote a book called Margin, having more time on either side of whatever you're going to do, because it always takes longer, almost always takes longer than you thought. But when you plan ahead, and again, knowing who you are, knowing who your audience is, and then I recommend a content calendar. So you have a theme, you have themes that you're writing on. And when you know that nurturing, when you know who you're writing to, you know what their things are that they really want to talk about. They really want to hear about the subjects. And so you are able to talk about a theme that's really important to them. And you can, when you get going, time blocking allows you to get going on something. So you've got a block and you start, I'm really, really making some progress here. Well, you might have 3, 4, 5 emails, of content written. You can then take and break that long amount into things that are individual. And what happens? Your reader they can't wait for tomorrow's email. You stopped at a point where they're like, what's happening next? I want to hear what comes next.
they're curious.
And
They're like a novel or crime series. What happens next? Cliffhanger, they're called. And that is
yes,
the good thing about doing things that help in advance. And as the curious reader or listener out there, did you hear what Wendy said when she did her planning? Before the day. So she knows, okay, when I start tomorrow, my focus is that. That is the top essence. So congrats to Wendy for doing that. Great one. Your audience, they look ahead to see what is happening. And that is why I love having such a guest here today as Wendy, because, I think we could talk for hours on a lot of things. And yes, I have kids. You have kids. You've been in a situation like me. Sometimes, like you said, we get interrupted. But instead of being, oh, it doesn't work, and sometimes we can all procrastinate. But sometimes the best tip is, okay, use this next time block or 30 minutes. Just start. Yeah, but I don't know where to start. Sometimes when you get in the flow, then ideas can pop up if you're doing it at the best time of your day. We have all our specific hours with more energy and more, the best surroundings. And sometimes we don't. But instead of, do something and say, you did a great effort, do it again another time. So practice, practice, practice.
yes. And the stats that you get when you do this also are so valuable because they show you what really resonates. And also what you were saying, your best time of day. I am not a morning person. I am a night owl. I'm a morning, but I'm not a morning person. But so I do things in the morning that are routine. Again, routines are so important,
Yeah.
and that I can do habitually. And I save my creative work for my best time of day. So I'm writing content, or I'm writing emails, or I'm doing that kind of thing either in the afternoon or sometimes in the evening. And again, you do you, because we're all different and there's
That is
no
your
one
tip
right.
number one. That was be unique, be yourself.
Exactly.
So we're coming to an end for this time. But if you repeat your top three things, if I recall them correct, one, be yourself. Don't copy. Number two, say no. Say yes to the right things. Number three, time blocking, planning ahead. And yes, as we talked about during this podcast, is about what can we automate and free up time, both to nurture our clients, nurture ourselves as well, and do even more good stuff. Oh, time goes fast when you're in the right company. It goes fast. It has been so lovely to have you here, Wendy, visiting us, and perhaps we'll see you again. We could
Thank
continue
you.
this. So, if any of you might ask, where can you find either me or Wendy? There will be a link somewhere on this page. But comment and we'll get back to you. So, so lovely to have you here. And as I usually say, Wendy, let's skip to the good part. Let's get to the solutions. We all have problems or challenges, but there are solutions out there. So
Thank
be
you.
time wise, work smarter, not harder. Have a great day, Wendy. See more of you.